this is Sunniva.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are giving you our first impressions of The Witcher Old World, a game designed by Łukasz Wozniak, published by Go On Board Games.
It plays from 1 to 5 players in 90 to 150 minutes.
Yes, so The Witcher is kind of like in the series of games made from video games. That's kind of like the new big deal. We have Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Skyrim, which we have but haven't opened yet, so we haven't gotten to play that.
Yes.
And we have The Witcher, these are coming out. And when this came out on, I don't remember if it was Kickstarter or GameFound, probably GameFound, I was like, I like The Witcher. I don't know anything about this game. Let's get it.
We like The Witcher. We like board games.
Usually those two doesn't work well together. Yeah. And now when we got it, I didn't before I went to see, started seeing people posting about the game before we got our copy. I didn't even know if it was like a co-op game or a competitive game. I had no idea.
You're just backing things blindly.
I was thinking it was going to be a cooperative game.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a competitive game. There is like a expansion where you can play it cooperatively, but it's not a campaign game. It's nothing like that. It's just like a adventuring board game for people who want to win the game.
Cool.
So yeah, we're going to do our first impressions, not like deep diving into it. Since we only have played a couple of times with 2 people.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna start by doing a very short overview of what you do in the game. In The Witcher, you are a witcher of one of the schools of witchers. And you're gonna move around on a map. You're gonna use cards to move on the map, doing different special abilities on locations. You can place dice pokers. You can meet other people to place dice poker with them. You can attack the other people. And also you're trying to build up to go and kill these monsters that are around on the board. Basically what you're trying to do is to get trophies, and the first player who gets 4 trophies, I think it is going to be the winner of the game. You get trophies for killing monsters, you get trophies for winning a fight against another witcher if you start the fight, and you get trophies for meditating, which you can do if you have are at the top of your track on one of the different attributes that you can level up in. And there's only, in a 2-player game, there's only one of each of those. So if I get a defense one, then you cannot get a defense one. And you're trying to be the first to get to 4 trophies. There's some deck building in the game. At the end of each round, you have to first do an event if you don't want to fight or meditate. And then you're going to get 1 new card each round. There's some other bonuses that gives you cards, but most of the time you're getting 1 new card every round of the game. Trying to manage that deck in a cool way. We're going to talk more about the deck soon, but basically that's what you're doing in the game. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Does the game have artwork?
Let's think about it. Yes, it does.
Does it have components?
Yes, it has that too.
Yes, and the reason Sunniva can answer so simply for those questions is because she has eyes. And she can see with them.
Yes.
So just if you were super wow, how did she know? It's because she played the game.
Looked at it.
And she was there.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a bit about what you saw when you played the game?
Yes, I think that the artwork is very good in this game. There are artwork on the cards that you have.
Yes.
There are also artwork on the cards belonging to the monsters. There are some nice map artwork, but overall I think the map and the world looks nice, but also it's very clear where the paths go, which is very important in this kind of game. And I like the card art, even though in this game I don't pay it much attention.
No, I think the card artwork is really good. And all the monsters looks amazing.
Yes.
We have the deluxe edition where we have the miniatures.
She looks really good.
They look really nice, but they're kind of like the minis for Tainted Grail. You don't need them. They just stand there.
Yes.
They make the game in Tainted Grail they're there even less. But here they kind of they just stand there till you kill them and then they go away. So it wouldn't really matter much to have the tokens instead.
Yeah, some games I think I'm glad I had the minis here. It really makes an atmosphere. And in this game, that's a little bit, but I wouldn't mind at all with the tokens. I would be super happy with that.
So this is one that I like. If you want the game, you can get a copy of the core box. Don't really need miniatures. If you're going to paint them, of course, they're going to look very, very good. Other than that, they're going to be grey miniatures that look very good, but you don't need them. Quickly, playtime and player count. How many have you played it with?
We have just played it with the two of
Yes,
us.
I spoiled that earlier in the video, so I just want to see if you were following along. But you were also there when we played it, so
Yes,
you
I
would
have
know
eyes.
anyways.
We have covered that.
Yes, and do you remember how much time it took us?
No, because I'm kind of time blind
Yes, you
when
are.
we play, so I rely on you and your BG stats app.
Yeah. First time it took us about 2 hours, I think like 1 hour and 55 minutes. The other time it took us about 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is 2 players. So far, like my first impressions of not playing it with any other count is that I wouldn't really want to play with more people because it probably would take a lot more time.
Yeah, the box says 92 and 150 minutes.
Yes.
I think that is quite accurate. We could get our play down to 1.5 hours. We were at 1 hour 45, so that is just 15 minutes off it.
Yes.
And it's quite player driven when the game ends. You could like have some luck or something and you can end it. You can get 4 trophies pretty simple, or you can make it very hard for yourself. You can drag it out for a long time. So I think it's a little player dependent.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that what I do on my turn, it takes some time.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm getting into a fight.
Yes.
And repeating that with 4 other people on the table, that sounds like a long game.
Yeah, and this is basically just source people on BGG. Most people have said that it's pretty long. That's kind of like their one negative of the game. Like one of the things that people don't like is the playtime. I think with 2 people, when like it was fine, the 2-player time. I wouldn't mind it being a bit shorter, but like when we played it, I would just put away the phones and don't think about time because we don't have anything we have to, like there's nothing we need to be finished before that time and stuff like that. It's just pleasant and it doesn't bother me.
Yes, and I wouldn't want to shorten, like take away some of the trophies that you would need to get because you want the chance to catch up to someone. And
I think 4 is a logical number.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about the cards in this game because the cards are kind of like a big deal.
Yes.
You use the cards for everything.
Yeah, that is quite the main mechanism that the whole game revolves around.
It's a card-driven game.
I love that you use it's very simple what you do on your turn. You play a card and then decides where you want to go. And those have terrain on them.
The cards,
so you can either go to where the terrain says or you could pay or play 2 cards to go somewhere else if you don't have the symbol that you're looking for. And what place you are at decides basically what you can do. And you can repeat and go basically wherever you want as long as you have the cards for it.
So that is one thing that you use the cards for. You use them for movement. You also use the cards for combat. We're going to talk more about that soon, but basically you use them for playing combat effects. And also there are your life pool in combat. So they're basically like almost everything you use these cards for. And I think that's kind of it is my favorite part of the game. Of course, it's like the biggest part of the game.
Part of the game too.
But it's the most gamey part of the game.
Yes.
Like this is an adventure game. We're going to talk more about that pretty soon in maybe 30 seconds or something. But I really like this is the mechanical part of the game.
Yes.
And I think it works really well.
I agree.
I like the way that you have to, like you're trashing some cards, you're trying to get cards that works well with each other, because you can combo the cards of each other, the different colors on them in combat and stuff like that, and which I really like.
I really like how you get the cards because you're not paying for them with money.
Nope.
You are always available. You have always getting to the opportunity to buy a card. I think you have to.
You have to take a new card each turn.
Because you are first drawing up to 3 cards and then you can discard cards, which are basically giving away actions to get cards.
Yeah.
And the better the card, the more cards you have to discard. And the cheaper the card, you don't have to discard anything, which I really think is a clever way to do it.
So we talked a bit about like the cards, like the mechanical part. There's kind of 2 more things to talk about, which are like all the adventure stuff and the combat.
Yes.
So maybe let's talk about the adventure stuff first.
Yes.
Because this is kind of, for me, a weird game. It's not a game that It doesn't fit like in a category of games that we are used to playing.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you're converting these resources to stuff. No, you're basically moving around and there's tracks, which is nice. You are moving on tracks. You have these attributes, trying to level up on them. When you level up on all of them, you're leveling up your character, which it's not really powerful. Like you get to draw a card. If it's like
it's an extra action.
Yeah, if it's like
really cool.
in the right moment, it can be very powerful. But it's not like, oh, I'm leveling up and this happens and I get new powers. It's just like, oh, I get to draw a card from my deck, which is good. So that's kind of mechanical as well, like moving on tracks. But you are basically moving around this map to move on tracks and to get new cards and to earn money so you can buy new movement on tracks.
Yes.
And try to find some like information on the monsters, which basically gives you a token, which makes it so that you begin the fight when the combat begins.
It's more likely that you win the fight and can earn the trophy.
And that's basically what you're doing in the game.
Yeah, it's very like when you put it that way, it's basically what you do. Yes. But how you do it, that is kind of an interesting adventure because you can go around winning a lot of money by playing dice poker, or you can lose it all, like I did.
The second time we played, I think we played like you can play against the game or the player.
Yeah.
I think we played probably like 25 rounds of the
I played a lot
poker.
of dice poker because I was so in desperate need of money all the time, and I lost every single.
I think you won once.
No. I won as the game when I was competing against you because I rolled for the game, but I didn't win by myself.
So yeah. You didn't get a lot of money for that. I got a lot of full houses.
But I like dice poker either way because you can gain
basically,
2 money and you're giving it like 1 as a, what do you call it, an investment? No, that is not the...
You're bidding it.
Bidding, yes.
Dice poker is basically like Yahtzee, but you can only re-roll once.
Yes.
And then that's it. That's how it is.
But I like the mechanism. But you can do stuff without doing dice poker. It's other ways to get coins.
But it's the main way of getting money. Like I have had a lot of money both times to play it, and it was because I played a lot of dice poker.
Yeah, because you are lucky in games. Well, the other ways to get stuff is by taking choices in these events.
Yes.
Because if you're not combating or meditating, you have to draw an event. You can choose between city events and wild events, and what I really love about these events that some of the tiny bit of stories are really fun. Yes. And I thought it has a nice flair to the Witcher world. But the other thing is that it isn't like the events in, for example, Gloomhaven, where something you do can just be horrifying.
Nope.
I feel like there's no right choice in these events, but something can give you exactly what you needed, and some things is not what you needed at all, but they're just like positive in their own way or negative in their own way.
I think that this is one of the reasons the game works as a competitive game, because if they were like, oh, you lose all your money,
oh, that would be super fun.
I did something like, oh, advance in combat and defense, and that would be horrible and super swingy.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens in these kind of games where, oh, I got something good and you were unlucky, got something bad. And as I said, sometimes the thing you get might not be the thing you needed, but it's going to be a positive outcome of everything most of the time. And I've seen people not like that, but for me, it's one of the things that makes this work as a competitive game.
Yes.
Because you don't get that frustration of getting bad stuff and the other people, oh, I'm drawing another thing I need and I need and I need. So for me, I like it. It's a very weird game because it is like, it's so different from these grey, beige Euro games. This is more like moving around, blip, blop, blip, blop, and getting some stuff and moving on these tracks and getting cards and playing them.
I really like the choices you do, like, or what you call it, the stories on the cards. I think that is a great mechanism and it works.
Let's talk about the combat.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I want to talk about it. It has, if you are familiar with the combat system in the
Tainted Grail.
Thank you. You are playing cards and you want to match. Like the some cards are linking to another color, and if you play that color, then you will get a bonus, and you will then get to play more cards. If it doesn't have a link, it stops there.
Yes. So how does a combat round work?
You can explain it. Yes.
If you are fighting a monster, we're going to explain that. Like if you're fighting a witcher, you're basically just doing the same thing. The monster has a amount of life, and it has like a special ability that says either at the beginning of the turn or the beginning of the fight or every round. And let's say it's at 15 lives. It also uses a deck of cards. You can take 15 of those cards, shuffle them together, and that's both the actions and the life pool. And then the monster's turns are super simple. The player controlling the monster. In 2-player, it's the other player, but if you're playing a multiplayer game, it's going to be the player to the right. And then the player's going to say bite or charge, and they're going to flip the card and apply one of them. So that's kind of just like randomly if you do something super horrible or something horrible.
Yeah.
And then most of the time the witcher is going to lose some life. And then basically you have a shield value, so you're going to lose shields first. If you're at 0 shields, you lose cards on top of your deck. If you don't have any cards in your deck, you're going to lose card in your hand. And as soon as you play or discard your last card, either as the monster or the player, you're done. You're out of the round. And as you already said, the combos, you play those and then you attack with damage, you get some special abilities and some defense back on the shield track. And you're just trying to be the last player or monster to lose your last card, basically.
Yes.
It's kind of straightforward, but it works.
Yeah, you can use some potions as well, and how many depends on your potion level.
Alchemy level.
And I think I really like how the combat system works, and you really keep that in mind when you're buying the cards. You want to have a variability of terrains that you want so you can explore the map in an efficient way. But you also want to say like, okay, I have a lot of red cards in my hand. I have to get some cards that can link to red cards, for example. And I think also that the balance between playing cards to damage the other player or monster is cool, because you're like, oh, I played this combo now, it's super cool, but now it's also discarded. And
4 cards, so my life.
This is my health. I'm dying now. It's a cool balance.
And also the different witchers has like a small different player power that then you can use in combat. Those are pretty neat. Like makes them like a little bit of variability. Despite the monsters, like many monsters in the game, it's a lot of variability that way. One thing I really like is that when you get trophies, there's kind of like a catch-up mechanism, because as we said, like these decks is both your attacking and movement, but also your life pool. And every time you get a trophy, you get fatigue, which it's called, which makes you trash cards. And that's kind of like a catch-up mechanism. So when I get to the next to last one, I'm losing 3 cards in my deck. And if I already took 2 more earlier, I'm going to have a few cards. And I really need to be lucky to be able to take the last fight before you do it. So you get that kind of race feeling as well.
Yes, I think the race feeling is nice in this game. And I agree with you. It's nice to have this catch-up mechanism. But it's also, you can get rid of some of the worst cards that you have. So you can thin a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not it's a very slow deck builder in that sense. And you want a big deck because it's your health as well. I think also it's cool that when you kill monsters or you defeat an opponent, you will get like the trophy, and it has a little special ability as well. So that also gives you like, oh, I got this, now I can do this cool thing, which feels good as well.
Absolutely. So do you want to do some kind of final first impressions? What do you think about the game?
It is very unique. It's different from everything else that I've played. I try to like hang it on like
yeah, I think there are other games like this, just that we haven't played them.
We haven't sought them out. But I enjoyed my plays of this, and we have the expansions, some of them.
Yeah, we have like the Kickstarter the stretch goal box.
Yeah, and I think I want to play with those because I thought the core game was fun, but I'm eager to see what more meat it is on this. I agree that the main complaint with this game is the length of it, because I think that this could potentially be cool to have more players around this table with this game, but it's not that interactive that you need it. So I don't know if it's worth the time, but my 2-player experience was a good first impression so far.
Yep, I liked the game. I had fun while I played it. Is it one that I want to come back to? That is like the question. And for me, I don't think so. Like I had fun the times we played it now, and I wouldn't be sad to play it again. But it's not a game that I think I will be like, oh, I need to play that more. So yeah, that's kind of like my thing. Would I recommend it so far? Like, it really depends on what kind of games you like.
Yeah.
And if you're like us and you're kind of like, oh, it'd be nice to do something else, but it's still kind of familiar, but still different and weird. So for me, it's kind of a good game so far. I think like if I were to rate it after 2 plays, I think I would give it like a 7.5.
Yeah.
So it's a good game. I enjoyed the experience, but didn't wow me in a big way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so are you done?
Yes,
Are we
done.
Yes, we are done with this video. That is our first impressions of The Witcher Old World. We hope you enjoyed it and we hope you got something out of it. Let us know if you have played the game or if you are wanting to play the game in the comments. If you haven't done so yet and you do enjoy what we do here on the channel, you can help us out in a big way by giving us a victory point.
And you can do that by clicking the subscribe button down there. You can even click the bell button to get notifications every time we post a new video, just like this one.
And that is the end of this video. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.